Okay, here's the thing I know to be true. Menopause can be an incredibly powerful time in a woman's life. I firmly believe that the way that we talk about menopause is incredibly one sided and one dimensional. Out there, if we're listening to social or we're listening to the media, the talk is all about the horrors of menopause. So, what I mean by that is just how horrific symptoms can be. Now, obviously, I'm not denying that symptoms cannot be terrible. For many women, they can be incredibly life disruptive. And for some women, they can be so catastrophic that they're impacting their quality of health to such a degree that they're incapacitated. But although symptoms absolutely need to be talked about so that there is an awareness for women about things that they can expect and what is normal in menopause, as well as, most importantly, women need access to strategies in order to help with the menopause, calming menopause symptoms. There are so many different therapies out there that can be effective. Sometimes it takes trying one therapy and trying another in order to find the one that works best for a person. But there are definitely therapies that are incredibly helpful in terms of calming menopause symptoms. So obviously that needs to be taken care of, and that there is easy access for all women to different types of therapies in order to bring hormone symptoms under control. But that, I believe, is only one very small side to what menopause is about. So, yes, we have the physical symptoms, but this is a transition time for women, an incredible transition time, especially if we're conscious of it. So, what I see in my practice with my clients is that so many women, either consciously or unconsciously, have a massive shift in their life during this time. So, for some women, like I think about one woman who is doing this most incredibly challenging race for the first time in her life. She's stepping into an incredibly high level of fitness. At 50, she is the fittest she's ever been. And what is most incredible is watching what has changed mentally for her. Her confidence has increased. She's reframed a lot of things that have happened for her in the past and is transitioning into a whole new person. And honestly, I see this time and time again. And with entrepreneurs, particularly, what I see is women taking a step back and looking at their business and asking themselves whether it serves the purpose that they're here to serve in the world. So I see so many women as entrepreneurs feeling at this time a huge calling to change something about their business in order to leave a legacy, as well as to create an impact in the world that they're called to create. And that is so powerful. These women are changing their business or restructuring their business in order to step into this calling. And they are changing the world. It is so amazing to see. And this is the part of the story of menopause that I feel has been completely left out. Yes, menopause is absolutely a physical transition, but I believe, and what I see is that it is also an emotional transition, a mental transition, and even for a lot of women, a spiritual transition. And that to me is the power of menopause. So we tend to frame menopause in our society as obviously catastrophic in terms of physical symptoms in a society where power comes from, for female, often from youth, from beauty. We can suddenly feel disempowered. And yet in other cultures in the world, this is a time where women step into their highest power in society. This is where they step into the role as leaders. So I feel that menopause needs a serious rebranding, that menopause needs to have the totality of the picture encompassed in what this transition means for women. So this means not just the physical transition. This doesn't mean a story about only horror and a loss of self and disempowerment. What if we rebranded menopause to be a story of empowerment. Again, yes, it's a transition, and transitions are hard. For any of you who are mothers, I'm sure if you look back to when you had young babies, that transition was super hard. If any of you are like me and stepped into the role of entrepreneur later in life, at 50, I decided to become an entrepreneur. Oh my gosh, that transition was hard. So we have many transition points in our life, even puberty. Puberty is a huge transition point led by hormones once again, where again, there's physical changes happening that are put us into a very chaotic state. There's emotional changes that are happening. There's mental changes that are happening, but we are birthing into in puberty our adult selves. And menopause hit at that time in our life when we're statistically, we follow the statistics where we're at the halfway point for our adult lives. So we're rebirthing into that second half of our adult life, and it can be amazing, especially if we approach it with a sense of consciousness and recognize that although transition periods definitely can have that element of chaos and disruption, what can be on the other side of that can be a rebirth into who we're meant to be and how we're meant to be in this world and what we have to share, again, especially as entrepreneurs. So again, I say menopause needs a serious rebranding. I call BS on the story that menopause is only about symptoms and it's the end of a woman's vitality. I say it's the absolute opposite. So if you're with me, join me on this transition and stepping into an incredibly powerful time in your life.